Hi, my name is Ken Schwartz of Precise Sharpening, and in this video I'm going to introduce the 3000 Bamboo Stone. This is one of the premier stones of the Nubatama series. Again, this is the 3000 Nubatama Bamboo series stone. So this is a first impression. This stone should be quite similar to the 2000 grit bamboo stone. One of the more exceptional stones I've ever had the chance to use, in that it plays so very well with natural stones and natural stone finishes. And so one of the things that I'm going to be doing is trying a number of knives with this. This might extend onto a second video, but let me give you an idea of the range of knives that I'm going to be doing with this. So the first of these, and we'll start doing a little bit of a porosity test initially, but let me just briefly mention a few knives in the meantime. This is a Moritaka. It's a sort of short nakiri. I find that it works a lot like what's called a producer's knife as well. So it can be used for slicing fruit samples, which is what a producer does, or I can also use it for chopping chilies and other small things. Very useful little knife from the Moritaka. So what I want to do, the previous finish on this has been from some of the more usual synthetic stones, so there's not much contrast over here. So we'll see how much difference there is on that. This is a Hiromoto Aogami Super core steel, and you can see the patina on this knife. So the core steel is also a carbon steel. The next one is an Aritsugu knife that I picked up from the Tsukiji Aritsugu. There's a Kyoto Aritsugu. It's a different company essentially. We're going to work with that. This is a Kuritsuke. It's, if you will, sort of a three-virtue type knife, but unlike the Santoku, it's used for Japanese traditional cuisine. So it acts, and you can see on the profile, it's quite thick near the base, and towards the tip gets exceedingly delicate and thin. This tip work works very well for yanagi. The overall shape works very well for katsuramuki, or working with making sheets of daikon and so forth. And the heel area acts more like a deba. So it's really a combination of the three. It's a very specialized knife, but I'm going to be doing this to see if I can even out some of the Kasumi finish on this knife. And lastly, I'm going to take a very different knife, which is a global knife. These knives are a very soft stainless steel knife, just to show that this stone, while it handles the finishing requirements very nicely, can also be used as a general purpose knife. So let's get going on this and start soaking the stone. It's sort of an off-white, very, very pale green looking stone, dry. It's very smooth. Let's see what it looks like wet. Okay, so it is absorbing the water fairly quickly. So let's give it a little more water and see how well it works with that. Okay, still absorbing fairly quickly for a 3000 grit stone. So let's see how this looks. And let's let it run for just a little bit as we go over these knives. So this knife, because it's a large single bevel, will probably take the longest amount of time. And if necessary, I'll split this up into 1 or 2 videos as well. So this is the Kiritsuke, and we'll get going on that in a minute. Then this one, again, this is the Moritaka. I think I'll start with the Moritaka. So let's get going with that. Alright, and what I'm interested in is, particularly on this side, what the finish will look like. So let's start in with that. Immediate impression, very, very silky smooth stone. Let me shut the water off so you can hear it even better. Very quiet, smooth stone. Still very smooth even though I pushed a lot of the water off. You can see that it is cutting the steel. So yes, I can remember the 2000 stone, and it does feel smoother. The swarf, if you look at the detail of the swarf, very fine looking swarf on this. Now I think for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to do the one side of the knife. Okay, and you can see it's definitely taking off metal, producing a very fine swarf. Now let's start looking at what this is starting to do. See if we can pick out anything quite yet. Okay, so we are starting to pick up some contrast already. Let's go a little bit more with this. Reasonably hard stone. I don't feel like there's any danger of cutting into the stone on the edge leading strokes. I think one of the primary uses for this stone will be as a precursor or a preparatory stone for going on to higher grit natural stone finishes. Let's bring this back. Okay, so it's already producing a very smooth, creamy sort of mud. Okay, let's look this over a little bit and see what we have. Okay, so as expected, we are showing a nice, you can see it over here, a nice delineation between the soft steel, the hard steel, and the softer cladding above it, and providing contrast with a very smooth finish without any aberrant scratches in there. So this should be an extremely nice stone to use for Kasumi type finishes. Stone does work well, even running without a whole lot of water on it. Very nice. So you can see the mud is starting to thicken a little bit. And I take the mud, and you can spread the mud, and you can sort of stair step the mud. Well, let's rinse this off a little. And you can see that it's developing. Very nice finish, a very short period of time. Very fine finish. So let's compare and contrast this side with the original finish on this side, which has very little contrast. So again, from an aesthetic point of view, the softer cladding is pretty much scratch-free at this grit. This can develop further. This would be an excellent precursor to use for natural stones such as the awasedo or polishing type stones. I would go to a polishing stone from this. You could use something like the Yaganoshima Sagi as a very nice combination, or the Hakka stones. Cutting performance is going to be quite nice. Easily push cutting fairly far out. It's an exceptional stone. Let's go on from here. Let's work on this knife a little bit. And again, that's what it's looking like originally, and some of these areas are a little bit inconsistent. Let's see if we can get this to clean this up just a little bit. So that last knife was a blue number 2 steel, the Kuroichi finish. This is a blue steel as well. Again, very smooth feel to this. Effortless, very pleasurable stone. You can feel a noticeable increase in smoothness over the 2000 grit stone. You can hear the difference when I'm using the mud versus when it dries out just a little bit. Very non-porous. I don't really need to be soaking this stone constantly. And let me be quiet for a second so you can hear the stone. And what I'll do is work the stone dry a little bit and then bring the mud back, and you can hear the difference. Almost complete absence of sound as it glides over the mud. You can hear it as it dries. Okay, let's take a look and see how this is looking. Okay, so just with the initial work, we're starting to see some smoothing. This knife will take more work to get that, but again, very high contrast between the cladding and the stone itself. Some of the areas it still hasn't quite reached yet because this surface is not entirely level. So let's go on from here, and we'll go on to the Hiromoto AS. Very nice edge. Rinse this off. We'll give this a try, see how its cutting performance is. Okay, so the edge of the edge, the area that's been sharpened below the patina, is pretty much of a mirror-like finish. Very clean, very nice. So let's see what this cuts like. Obviously, that cuts very nicely for slice cutting, which is what this knife is designed for. And push cutting, also quite nice. Very nice edge. Okay, and now for the sort of oddball. It's not the type of knife that I would specifically buy this stone for. It's almost too nice of a stone to use this for. But sometimes you need to use a stone for more than one thing, so let's give it a try, see what it feels like on stainless. It's a very soft stainless steel too. Okay, so you can definitely feel it gripping. You can see the swarf patterns. See the swarf in there, in the stone mixture. When I go back like that, the little swarf rivers coming down. So the stone generates very fine mud. Not a lot of mud, but a very fine, consistent mud with a good amount of swarf, so it's a fast cutting stone as well for the grit level. Not a soft stone, so you don't have to worry, especially as you're coming near the tip, about cutting into the stone. The stone does not load up at all, even running on relatively low water levels, which seem to be how the stone seems to like to work, without a whole lot of water, so that you can get a nice grit density in the mud. Okay, that's stepping up its game. I can feel it being a good bit sharper. Let's see what this cutting performance feels like. Get a dry piece of paper here. Alright, so slice cutting, very nice. Push cuts easily. Gives a very nice edge very quickly on a stainless steel knife. So yeah, you can use this for both stainless and carbon steel. On the carbon steel, it provides superb contrast. This is a really, really nice stone. I think this is fast becoming my new favorite. When do you use this between the 2K and the 3K bamboo? That's going to be a personal choice, and it will depend upon the stone that you are proceeding or following this stone with. So that if you were using, let's say, an 800 grit stone or a coarser stone, you might go with the 2K. If you're following this with a higher grit polishing stone, this would be a superb stone to work with. So I would use this, let's say, to proceed a haka tomai, maybe the Yaganoshima Asagi as well. Thank you very much for your time. Kind of a quick run through on 3 knives, but I can see that, you know, this is an extremely versatile stone, very pleasant stone to work with. And I would be looking forward to your comments. It's available now at Chef Knives to Go. Thank you very much for your time.